The weekend of October 11th brought heavyweight action back to the forefront. And as we began to look ahead through the rest of 2025, it is a pleasure knowing that the division is alive and thriving. And such was the case on the undercard of Ennis versus Lima, when we had a chance to see two big heavyweights take place. Barriere versus Vianello. Let's talk about these two big men, what they brought on the evening, and what it could mean for the winner now going forward. The heavyweight division is alive. When we talk about the heavyweights, a lot of times we look forward to them as they headline, just as Dave Allen and Arslanbek Makhmudov headlined over in the UK. But here in the US, we had headliners Jaron Boots Ennis taking on Uisma Lima. But on the undercard was a very nice matchup. And this matchup, many people weren't expecting it. But Alexis Barriere taking on Guido Vianello in a fight that was scheduled for 10 rounds or less because they're the big men. It brought two guys who had similar records and were similar in stature, with the difference being you had one fighter who was an orthodox in Vianello and the southpaw in Barriere from Canada. The fight started out with both men kind of filling one another out. But you could see early on that Barriere, who had been labeled as a chief sparring partner for Tyson Fury by the commentators, he was looking to land his straight left on Vianello. He was landing it with accuracy, but he wasn't putting a lot of mustard on it. And so as we saw this, we could see that he was bringing a little bit of apprehension in there because he hadn't faced the quality of opposition that Vianello had faced. And so coming away from this bout now, he has a record of 12-1 and 10 KOs after entering in undefeated. He's 30 years of age, and as I said, fighting out of Canada, Alexis was really hoping to catch Vianello sleeping. But Vianello, whose record now has moved up to 14-3 with one draw and 12 KOs, showed the experience of a fighter who's been around a block or two. Going into the fourth round, you could see where Vianello had had enough already of Barriere taking advantage of his listlessness. So he started to come at him with power shots, looking to nail him as he came in. And it was a great switch up in the plan for Vianello, who had opened the bout kind of moving around and pawing a little bit with his lead hand because of the difficulty sometimes it is to line a southpaw up because they're out of position. All of a sudden, he looked to start landing his right hand, and boy, in the fourth round, he had really nailed Barriere. And that point, the fight began to change, because near the end of the round, he was down, and you could see that Barriere had lost his bearings and his equilibrium. And Guido jumped on top of him like the gladiator he is. You see, Guido is a fighter who, though he has lost and has losses on his records, I can honestly say that he has learned some things from his losses. We take the loss that goes all the way back to January of 2023 against Jonathan Rice, where he lost by TKO in the 7th round due to a cut that had opened up in the 6th from a punch, and it was bleeding profusely, so it was ruled a TKO stoppage because they had been beyond the 4th round. Had the cut happened by the 4th or prior, they could have gone to scorecards, and guess what? He was leading on the scorecards against Rice. So an undefeated fighter had to take a loss. And this is why fighters shouldn't play with their food. Though he didn't rematch Rice, and Rice has really done nothing since, he followed that up with a couple of victories over Curtis Harper and Moses Johnson until he met Efe Ajagba in April of 2024. In a hard, tough-fought fight against Ajagba, he lost a split decision on scores of 96-94, 94-96, and 94-96 for a split in a fight that he could have easily received the consideration. He followed that up with an August match against Arslanbek Makhmudov, who just faced Dave Allen over in the UK on that headlining card that we just spoke of. And he stopped Makhmudov in the 8th round. That followed with a fight earlier this year, April, against Richard Torres Jr., where he lost a unanimous decision and even being deducted a point in the 2nd round for holding. But something was wrong in that fight, and I couldn't understand quite why Guido wasn't able to get off against the shorter Richard Torres. He just had difficulty with Torres' style on that night. So on this night against Barriere, someone got to him in the corner, meaning whether it was his trainer or whomever, but they let him know that you cannot let this go like it's going. And he opened up in that 4th round, hurting Barriere, putting him down. And then when he rose inside the count, visibly shaken and hurt and off balance, he looked to follow up, but the bell rang as Barriere stumbled to his corner, and you could tell that the fight was pretty much over then. So it was early in the 5th round where he was able to nail a right hand counter shot to Barriere's left temple and sent him sprawling into the ropes and on the canvas, where he could not beat a count, and the referee stopped the fight before he was able to try to rise to his feet inside the count. So Guido is back, and he's looking to throw his hat back into the arena of the heavyweight division. And you know what? The gladiator deserves every right to come back. And I believe a fight against the likes of Anthony Joshua would serve him well, because Joshua is looking for a return opponent, and though he's got his sights set on Tyson Fury for whatever reason, it looks more like an opportunity against someone like Guido would be much more of an intriguing fight. But what do you think? This is Stormy B Man. Shout out to the mighty LDBC and Liberated Perspective, a third eye view of the world. For more content such as this, please like, comment, subscribe, and share. Let me know your thoughts about Guido and what he's doing in the heavyweight division. And would you like to see the Italian come back and throw his hat in the arena of competition and possibly one day be lined up against one of the top fighters for a possible title shot? Leave comments and let's discuss further. Peace to everyone out there, and everyone please remain safe.